Please remain standing whilst Reverend Bruce Perrin leads us in prayer.
Just before we pray, I'd like to first of all thank you for making me welcome for the last 12 months. But I'd also like to say a huge thank you on behalf of my boss. Now, my life is confusing because I have 3 bosses, you might say. There's Janet, who is the mayor, and I'm the mayor's chaplain, might think that she's my boss. She's not, but thank you so much, Janet, for all you've done in the last 2 years as the mayor. You served us there and in other roles particularly well. You might argue that the head of the organisation that I work for is the boss. That will be Queen Elizabeth II. She is the head of the Church of England, and I can say with absolute confidence that she would also, were she here, like to thank you and honour you for the work you've done and you will do in the coming session. But I'd also say that she's a woman who's demonstrated what it is to be a woman of integrity in leadership with all the pressures of public life and the thanklessness that can come with that so many of you folks live with from time to time. And her source of strength is her boss, which is God. And so as we come together to bring all of these new things for the new mayoral office and the new council together, and we remember those who served before, could I just say on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for all that you have done. Thank you for all that you will do. And could I invite you to become and aspire to be men and women of integrity who show truth and light and hope. There's so much that we can't do, isn't there? And so much that you folks would love to do but can't because resources don't allow. But there's so much that you can do as well. So could I encourage you in what you can do? And ask, just draw on those sources of strength. Obviously, I'm a vicar, so I would say to look at God as well. But let's just pray. I'm going to say a short prayer. Then afterwards, if you'd like to join me in the Lord's Prayer, you'd be very welcome to. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for all who have served this council in the past, for those who serve it in the present and those who will serve it in the future. Would you give each of them wisdom, strength, compassion, and openness in all that they do? And Lord, as we come to this wonderful Jubilee Bank Holiday weekend, we also lift Queen Elizabeth to you, and we thank you for her duty and her service over many years. And pray that for her and for the councillors here, that you would give her strength and wisdom, courage to stand for what is right, and to love all people. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So for those who would like to join me, let's say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, now and ever. Amen.
Thank you for your hard work and your very, very kind support over the last, it says here 12 months, but it's actually been a lot longer than that, so thank you very much. You've done a wonderful job and I have appreciated your friendship and support, so thank you. Right, please be seated. So I'm carrying on with this one, aren't I?
Yeah, need to go apologies for absence.
Right. Apologies for absence have been received this evening from Councillors Gwynn and Patrick. Are there any further apologies for absence? Councillor County. Thank you. Okay. Right. Agenda item 1, election of Civic Mayor. Can I ask Councillor Cooney to move the motion to defer this item? Agenda item 2, can I ask Councillor Cooney to move the proposal?
Business for 2022 to 23, the municipal year.
All those in favour, please show. Executive Leader, fellow members and colleagues, welcome to today's meeting, which I have to begin with on a sad note by referring to some deaths which have occurred since we last met. Honorary Alderman Jim Middleton, who died last month, aged 86, gave 27 years of service to the people of Droylsden East and was one of my predecessors as Civic Mayor of Tameside. On May the 3rd, we lost Tony Brooks from Duckingfield, who was described by Sterling Moss as one of the best Formula 1 Grand Prix drivers never to win the World Championship. He was 90, and as a child I knew him as I lived on the same street as Tony's family, Park Lane. And yesterday, of course, marked a year since the death of Dr. Ron Hill, who made such an impact on the world stage as an athlete and businessman. All three brought a great deal of credit to this borough. They will be greatly missed, and I'm sure you will join me in sending condolences to their families. On another note, I'm happy to say I've been kept very busy since the last meeting, even if I did come close to drowning at the Royal Garden Party in Buckingham Palace. I know we live in Manchester, but I have never seen rain like it. My shoes took 3 days to dry out, and I gave up the hat, it disintegrated in it. I left it in a litter bin in London. I've also been able to raise money through my charity appeal through the last night of the proms evening on Saturday just gone and through the annual mayoral ball. Other events I've enjoyed included Tameside Recovery Fund meetings in Ashton and Denton, which dispensed several £1,000s in much needed grants to hard-working community groups. I've also tried to support the Ukrainian community wherever possible as they raise funds for friends, relatives and others in their homeland who are suffering so much as a consequences of the Russian invasion. Also, thank you to the elections team who yet again made sure everything ran smoothly on the 5th of May. There's much more to elections than polling day, and I would like to thank everyone who made things run so efficiently. The elections have inevitably meant some comings and goings. We have lost Jim and Philip Fitzpatrick and Dolores Lewis, and I thank them for their hard work over the years. At the same time, I'm delighted to welcome our new members, Andrew Colburn, Hugh Roderick and Lucy Turner. I'm sure you'll carry on the fine tradition of service for which this council is known and doing your best for all your constituents. So that brings me to the end of my mayoral engagements, and I will now hand back over the chair of council business to Councillor Joe Kitchen.
Please stand.
Agenda item 3 is declarations of interest. Are there any? No. Thank you. Agenda item 4, which is the election of councillors. The Chief Exec to read.
So this is the report of the returning officer on the persons elected to the office of councillors for the wards I'm going to read out. The following persons at the elections held on the 5th of May 2022 were elected to the office of Councillor for the Wards, respectively indicated as I read them through to hold the office for the period of 1 year. Ashton Hurst, Lucy Turner, Conservative. Ashton St Michael's, Bill Firthowell, Labour. Ashton Waterloo, Vimal Chotsky, Labour. Audenshaw, Oliver Ryan, Labour. Denton North East, Vinnie Ritchie, Labour. Denton South, Claire Reid, Labour. Denton West, Mike Smith, Labour. Drolsden East, Sue Quinn, Labour. Drolsden West, Barry Holland, Labour. Duckingfield, Jackie Lane, Labour. Duckingfield, Staley Bridge, Eleanor Wills, Labour. Hyde Godley, Andrea Colburn, Conservative. Hyde Newton, Hugh Roderick, Labour. Hyde Werneth, Phil Chadwick, Conservative. Longdendale, Janet Cooper, Labour. Mosley, Stephen Homer, Labour. St Peters, Joyce Bowerman, Labour. Stalybridge North, Sam Gosling, Labour. And Stalybridge South, Liam Billington, Conservative.
Thank you. We move on to agenda item 5, which is the council minutes. Can I ask Councillor Cooney to move the minutes, please?
Yeah, the minutes of the meeting council held on the 22nd of February 22 and the 21st of March 22 be approved as a correct record, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Fairfield. Thank you. Can I ask you then if you're happy for me to sign them as the correct set of minutes? All those in favour? Thank you. Now move on to agenda item 6, appointment of executive leader.
Chair, to move that Councillor Joel Cooney to be appointed the executive leader of the council.
Thank you. Can I ask Councillor North to second the motion?
I second that motion, Chair.
Thank you. All those in favour, please show. That's carried. Thank you. Agenda item 7, which is appointments of the executive cabinet panels. Oh, sorry, yeah. Executive leader to speak. I'm missing you out.
Looking at that, I think anyone who knows me, it's a good job my mum's not here anymore because the P's missing between the Gerald and the Cooney. Any officers who have dealt with me have noticed that. First of all, Chair, I'd like to thank you for having I'd like to thank you all for having the confidence and faith to vote me in as leader of the council. It's an honour and a privilege. But before I talk about the future, I'd like to recognise my predecessor as leader, Councillor Brenda Warrington. In her 4 years in the top job, she steered Tameside through some unprecedented times, assuming office after the unexpected death of the previous leader, Councillor Kieran Quinn, and managing the fallout from the collapse of Carillion and fighting the coronavirus. Any one of these would be a defining challenge to any leader's career. Brenda faced all three, one after the other, and in quick succession, and with tremendous fortitude. As we move into a period of new leadership, our focus must be on building upon the good work of the last 4 years with new ideas and tackle new challenges. The coronavirus pandemic has given way to the gravest cost of living crisis in generations. Unlike the COVID-19, no scientist is going to create a vaccine for poverty and inequality. The only response to the crisis of poverty is to build a better and fairer society. I and my new cabinet will outline over the coming weeks and months our plans to reinvigorate the economy, and the communities of Tameside. But tonight I want to highlight 4 key areas that I think we can all agree should be priorities for action. Town centres, major projects, clean and safe streets, and listening to the voices of our residents. Upon my leadership, we will build on each town centre's unique strengths to transform them all into new engines of economic prosperity and civic pride. I will ensure that swift delivery of major projects, such as the restoration and the reopening of the historic Ashton Town Hall and the Heritage Action Zone in Staley Bridge. While speaking to voters in the election campaign, they reminded us of their doorstep priorities, including cleaning up our streets by taking firm action against those who blight them with fly tipping and antisocial behaviour. And in that vein of listening to voters and concerns, I intend to open up the Council's decision-making process to ensure that every resident's voice will be heard on the issues that matter to them. On a final note, this June bank holiday, as we know, Her Majesty the Queen will become the first British monarch to celebrate a Platinum Jubilee after 70 years of service. I think it's important that we work with the Lord Lieutenant, the Queen's representative in Manchester, to find a suitable and appropriate way for Tameside to formally recognise Her Majesty's historic public service. Thank you, Chair.
We'll now move on to agenda item 7, appointments of the Executive Cabinet panels, the Standards Committee, outside bodies and opposition speakers. Those are on your yellow sheets of paper. Can I ask Councillor Cooney to move it, please? Move it, Chair. And Councillor Fairfield to second the motion. Are you all okay with those appointments? Yep. Okay. Then I'll move on to agenda item 8. This is a calendar of meetings for the municipal years 2022 to 2023 and 2023 to 2024. Those were circulated with the agenda. Councillor Cooney to move, please.
The calendar of meetings for 2022, 23, 23, 24 be agreed as set out in the report circulated with the agenda, Chair.
Thank you. Those seconded? Thank you. Are you all happy to receive those? Yeah, thank you. We'll now move on then to agenda item 9, the Executive Cabinet minutes. Can I ask Councillor Cooney to move on, please? 2 sets of minutes.
Minutes of the meeting of the Executive Cabinet held on the 23rd of March 22 and the 27th of April 22 be received and the recommendations contained herein be agreed.
Those seconded? Thank you. Any questions or comments on them? No. Now move on then to the next one, which is agenda item 10, meeting of the Standards Committee. Can I ask Councillor McAnally to move those minutes, please? Thank you. And ask Councillor Boyle to second those. Yeah. I would like to take this opportunity to formally thank Valerie Bracken, the independent person and chair of the Standards Committee, and her deputy, Jacqueline Barnes, who have served the council for over a decade, supporting and raising standards, and to welcome Miriam Lawton, who has been appointed as the new independent person and chair of Standards Committee, and her deputy is due to be appointed soon. Everybody okay with those minutes? Yeah, thank you. We now then move on to agenda item 11, which is a revised Gambling Act policy 22 to 25. Can I ask Councillor Ward to move those, please?
Chair.
And Councillor Rickett to second those. Thank you. Any questions or comments on those? You're all happy to receive them then? Yeah, thank you. Agenda item 12, which is the revised statement of licensing policy, the Licensing Act 2003. Can I again ask Councillor Ward to move those recommendations, please? Councillor Rickett to second that. Thank you. Any questions or comments? No? All right, I'll move on to the next item then, which is we're going to adjourn. So I'd like to thank you for this part of the meeting. There should be tea and coffee available in George Hatton Hall for you. Because we'll have to now get this meeting ready for the meeting at 6 o'clock for the mayor making. Thank you for your attendance, and I hope that those mics work down there because nobody's asked anything. Thank you.
General, can I please ask you to remind you that mobile phones should now be switched on to silent? Sitting down.
Yeah, come on, sit down.
Yeah, you can be seated, please. I now call upon Councillor Fairfowl, to propose the formal motion for the election of the Civic Mayor.
Thank you, and while you're retiring, I'll excuse the mispronunciation of my name. So, can I call upon that Councillor Michael Glover be, and is hereby elected to be the Civic Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough of Tameside for the ensuing municipal year? So, Mike was elected in 2015 to the Ashton-Hurst ward. Mike quickly established himself as an excellent community councillor where he was already well known. Mike has also undertook some key roles in the council, such as chair of place in an external relations scrutiny panel, a member of the North Strategic Neighbourhood Forum, the overview panel, speakers panel, planning, roles he approached with professionalism, and Mike's relaxed manner means that he's totally approachable. The role of Mayor has been a long time coming for Mike. He's already served 2 years as Deputy to Councillor Cooper. I know the big shoes to fill, not literally. So Mike, your time has come. I'm sure you'll make a fantastic job of it. So don't blow it. It's also great to see that Ashton has its turn for the mayoralty. I'm sure you'll get many local requests for visits. Mike has been involved in the Rotary Club for 27 years. This has made him a well-known and popular figure in our community. Mike has seen during the year either organising the Tameside Beer Festival or standing as Santa on his sleigh in December. We'll be able to spot him this year because Santa will have the bling. So I know that Mike will be a fabulous, fabulous mayor. And as you know, Mike loves cars and motorbikes. And on a sunny day, Mike can be seen in his car with the sunroof down, the shades on. Yes, probably believing he was 21 again. Mike also has a motorbike, and I know he enjoys taking it for a run. So there's probably 2 pieces of advice. First of all, the mayor's car doesn't have a sunroof. Probably best not to wear your mayoral chain on the motorbike, it's too risky. Chain for that price. Finally, a word for Mike's consort, Anne. I wish you all the best, and hopefully an enjoyable year. Hopefully this wasn't too much of a shock when you were asked to do it, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'm sure that the 2 of you will be great ambassadors for Tameside. Have a fabulous year, and it gives me a great pleasure to propose Mike Glover to be the Mayor of Tameside 2022-23. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fairfowl. I now call upon Councillor Bowerman to second the formal motion as moved by Councillor Fairfowl.
Thank you, Mayor. I am delighted and honoured to be invited to second this nomination this evening. I have known Mike Glover for many years. He is well respected by his colleagues, council staff and the wider public in Tameside, especially in his own ward of Hurst. I first met Mike when I joined the congregation at St Michael's and All Angels Church, fondly known as Ashton Parish Church. Mike was the church warden, and he worked incredibly hard to ensure the church was kept in good order and run well to the best of his ability. Being a Grade 1 listed building, this was a huge responsibility, but Mike always took things in his stride and remained upbeat and cheerful whilst carrying out his warden duties. Our church really benefited from his tireless efforts. Mike and I became firm friends when he was elected as councillor for Hurst Ward. He shows the same level of commitment in his councillor role and works hard for all the residents of Hurst. Mike is well known for his voluntary work with Tameside Rotary, attending many fundraising events, and Christmas just wouldn't be the same without Mike in his Father Christmas outfit, manning the Tameside Rotary sleigh, which tours around parts of Ashton each year. I think Mike even grew his beard so he could look the part as well. He also volunteers at the Hurstfest event and the annual Stalybridge Beer Festival, which I can confirm he never misses each year. I know Mike will be an excellent civic mayor for Tameside. He is respected, friendly, hard-working, and he has a lovely sense of humour. He will promote and inspire our borough, and he'll be ably supported with Anne by his side. I therefore take great pleasure in seconding this mayoral nomination, and my very best wishes to Mike and Anne. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bowen. I put the motion to the Council that Councillor Michael Glover be elected Civic Mayor of Tameside for the ensuing municipal year. All those in favour, please show. The motion is carried. Councillor Fairfowl and Councillor Bowerman, can I ask you to please leave the Council chamber to collect Councillor Glover? I've demoted now. inform you of the Council's decision to elect you as the Civic Mayor of Tameside for the ensuing year and offer my sincere congratulations and good wishes.
Steps there, Janet. No, it's gone now. It's gone. You'll have to get on the slope. Yeah, I'm sure. Sure. Yeah. Does it seem a lot?
I, Michael Glover, having been elected to the office of Civic Mayor for the Tameside Metropolitan Borough, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof, according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Councillor Tafeen Sharif, it is certainly an honour to be here today proposing nomination of my friend Taff for this appointment of Deputy Mayor of Tameside. I met Taff after her election as Mosley Councillor in 2016 at a Labour Women's event and quickly realised that we'd get on well, both being strong female councillors, both juggling young families and sharing tales of breastfeeding whilst attending meetings. Many may not be aware, but Taff was born in Luton and grew up in one of the poorest neighbourhoods in the country. Alongside her parents and 5 siblings, she is of Kashmiri heritage and is a proud Asian woman who has spent her life breaking many, many barriers. Although Taff grew up in a poor neighbourhood and didn't have the finer things, she benefited from the strength and generosity of her community. Taff has never forgotten her roots and the people who influenced her life in so many rich ways. It is those experiences that shaped Taff into being the first female in her family to go on to university. And it's those experiences that continue to drive Taff to make a difference as a strong Asian woman in public life, with strings to her bow, like being a cabinet member for community safety as a councillor in Dallow, preceded by a prominent position as the first Asian female Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner. These parts of Taff's character are absolutely the parts that endear me to her. Being a mother of 4 young children, working hard to shape their community, to enrich the lives of others, will inspire her children and those within her Asian community and the wider community for years to come. Of that I have no doubt. In the 6 years that Taff has been a councillor for Mosley, she has worked hard alongside her colleagues to represent the residents of Mosley and has a passion to drive down inequalities within our communities, impacting on housing, health and education, to name but a few. Something she also represents in her roles within Home Start, the peer support service, offering support to families, and as a local governor at Button Vale Primary School. I sincerely wish Taff every success in the next 12 months, and I'm sure she will continue to help people and continue making a difference, being a strong representative in many ways, showing that barriers are there to be broken. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wills. I now call upon Councillor Stephen Homer to second the formal motion.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to second the nomination of my friend and Mosley Ward colleague Taff for Deputy Mayor. This nomination is all the more special as it means Taff will be the first non-white Muslim Asian woman Deputy Mayor of Tameside. Having worked alongside Taff and seen first-hand how hard she works, I know she will be a fantastic Deputy Mayor. I wish herself, Faisal and the kids all the best for the upcoming year and hope they enjoyed every second of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Homer. I now put the motion to the Council that Councillor Tafin Sharif be appointed Deputy Mayor of Tameside for the ensuing municipal year. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. The motion is carried. Just one.
Elected to the office of Deputy Mayor for the Tameside Metropolitan Borough Council, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you also to all my family and friends for your attendance and kind support this evening. And special thanks to all my friends and colleagues on the council for your very, very good wishes. Please be assured that I intend to work very hard for the borough and for the people of Tameside. I hope to make a real difference in my tenure. I hope to support the Civic Mayor and the Mayoress, in particularly by reaching out to communities and to bringing communities together. We have had a tough couple of years, and this first year is where we can really reach out and rebuild again. I am delighted and honoured to be your Deputy Mayor, and I'm so very grateful for this wonderful opportunity. I thank you all once again.
Thank you. It is now my pleasure to propose a vote of thanks to the retiring Civic Mayor and Council. Excuse me. I'm sure members will agree that Jonathan Dennis have worked extremely hard during their year in office. They have conducted their duties with great dignity and have been excellent ambassadors for this authority. I'm delighted to move the vote of thanks and to wish them well for the future. I understand that Councillor Owen is to second the vote of thanks.
I'm happy to second the vote of thanks. Janet told me recently that Londondale hasn't had a mayor for 30 years, but I think we'd all agree it's been worth waiting for. So thank you very much for all the work that you've both done. It's time for the holiday, so Benidorm beckons. It's time to breathe, have a great time, and thank you on behalf of all of us and of all the people of Tameside. Thank you.
So, first of all, I wish to thank the members of this council for bestowing this great honour on me, and a special thank you to Councillor Bill Fairfax for proposing the nomination and Councillor George Sparrowman for seconding the proposal. I feel very proud to stand here as your new Civic Mayor, and together with my Mayoress, Anne Gordon, will look forward to the year ahead. Our retiring Civic Mayor, Janet, and her consort, Dennis, have weathered an unprecedented 2 years in office with the frustrating and tragic events of the pandemic. Yet despite all the hurdles placed before them, Janet and Dennis have been outstanding ambassadors for Tameside. I hope that Anne and I will be able to continue their good work with as much energy and enthusiasm, and dare I say scrounging abilities, over the coming months. So we're looking forward to working with the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Taheen Sharif, and I'm sure that we'll make a great team. We hope to attend as many events as possible across Tameside and working with people of all ages and cultures, and are able to support many of our community groups and volunteers. We're also looking forward to raising funds for my mayoral charity appeal fund, which this year will be supporting a small number of charities and groups that provide support to our vulnerable residents. I've chosen charities and groups that have meant something to me personally and the residents of Tameside over the last few years. The rising problem of mental health and the support provided locally by the Anthony Seddon Fund. I've lost a number of friends and, of course, my wife to cancer. The care and support of Greater Manchester Asbestos Victim Support Group and the Christie Charitable Fund were wonderful. Typical of a number of local community groups, the small shore tenants and residents, staff, provide help, support and fund and run successful youth club. They also rose to the challenge of the COVID pandemic by providing food where needed. I hope I will have your support in raising funds for these worthy causes. I would like to thank our families and friends for being here this evening, to see you in the public gallery and to have your love and support in sharing this special occasion with us. I would also like to thank my friends and colleagues in the Council for your encouragement, support and advice. I was fortunate to be Deputy Mayor for the last 2 years, and from that experience, understand that we will have a busy and exciting year. We will be working hard for this Council and the people of Tameside, and hope that you will be proud of what we achieve. Thank you all once again. On behalf of the Council, it is my pleasure to present the retiring Civic Mayor and Consort with medallions and a certificate in recognition of their year in office. Should be yours, shouldn't it? And as a thank you for their hard work and loyal service, I therefore ask Janet and Dennis to step forward to receive these gifts.
Can I just start by saying it's been an honour and a privilege to serve as your Civic Mayor. It's been different, it's been wonderful, and with what Mike said and what's going on, it has been emotional. Once lockdown was lifted, but still with restrictions, still applying, it's been full on for 18 months. Dennis and I have attended hundreds of engagements all through the borough, and I would like to thank everybody here for their support, because without it, we couldn't have done it, whether it's been friends, colleagues, officers, everybody, so thank you. I'd like to say thanks to my chaplain, Bruce, who's helped me enormously, but he's had to go to work, so. And to my deputy, Councillor Glover, because he's been a massive support, so thank you.
Thank you.
Christine and Joe, who have looked after us, deserve a special mention, so thank you both. I know you're both here. Christine's still there, thank you, Joe. Special thanks to my consort, Dennis, my rock, for all his support. I couldn't have done this without him. I'm delighted to report that my charity appeal fund has raised just over £16,000 for my chosen charities. We are both, the charities and myself, over the moon with this, and families all over Tameside will benefit from this. It's been an amazing time, one we wouldn't have missed, but we are now running on empty. So we are leaving the chains in the capable, safe hands of Mike, Anne and Taff, your new Civic team, and they'll do a fabulous job. So all that remains to say is thank you all so much. Your support has meant a lot.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. That concludes the annual meetings of the Council. However, We will now move to the special meeting of Council to confer the title of Honorary Alderwoman on former Councillor Margaret Sidebottom. So, can I ask Councillor Fairfowl to move the motion?
Thank you, Mike. So, Margaret, it's an absolute honour and a privilege to be proposing that you become an ordinary alderwoman of the same side tonight. Taking from the notes, so born in Glasgow in 1949, you'll thank me for that, former Ulster shop steward. You married Colin, you're a very patient Colin, and you've got 4 daughters, a stepson and a stepdaughter. Wait for this, 13 grandchildren and a great-grandson. Okay, wow. So you're elected to Tameside Council in 1999 and you represented St Michael's Ward until you retired in 2021. And I know you took your public role very seriously and loved getting involved in the community. Family was always very important to you, and as has been said, you've got 13 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. And I know this speech is about Margaret, but especially us on the Labour side, I cannot not mention Campbell in this speech because he was known to us all. Margaret would bring Campbell to meetings and he would certainly get involved from a very, very early age. He made great friends with the community police team. He would always be wearing the helmet or setting off the siren in the car. He nearly arrested Councillor Ritchie, I remember once on a campaign morning, when he was allowed on the many community days. And you couldn't be more proud, Margaret. The reason why I'm saying this is because you've had a massive influence, you and Colin, on this little boy's life, as well as your other grandchildren. And that's absolutely all credit to you. But it's also credit to your personality as well, where you're always thinking of others. And I think, I just think that story, I think, is absolutely incredible, and as I say, credit. So, I was a governor at the Spire Academy in Ashton, which was a new school in St Michael's. When I stood down, the head asked if I knew anybody that would be interested. And of course, the school being in the community, and you wanted to embed yourself in the community, I thought, oh, Margaret could be a good one. And I think the approach here. A few months later, I don't think I've told you this, a few months later, I bumped into the head, and I asked how things were going. She replied, oh, the kids love Margaret. She's a diamond. In other words, she's better than you. So, well done, Margaret, that one. So you were the Civic Mayor at Tameside in 2006 to 7. You actually bypassed the Deputy Mayor, but you went straight to the big job. So, Mike, you got 2 years, Margaret went straight to the big job, as is tradition. And I know it's a role that you and Colin really, really enjoyed, and I know you still keep in touch with the other Greater Manchester chain gang from that year. I know you enjoyed the travel during that year and also meeting many other people that the morality sort of brings. If you had a fault, Margaret, is the fact that you were always willing to volunteer for every role that was out there. You loved helping people, and you were heavily involved in finding things like Friends of Cedar Park, a group that was so much more than just looking after a park. You actually helped the community, indeed the whole area around that in Ashton. And you also brought the Cedar Park Fun Day together, which was a really interesting sort of event, which actually meant so much more to the young people there. And which I know they really enjoyed. So just on that, I was a governor of another school in Ashton, and the teacher relayed me back. When she asked the class, where did they go for the holidays, or what did they do over the holidays, one young person said, I went to Cedar Park. It really was the only thing that some young people in the area had to look forward to in that day, was that one day where we pulled together back in the day, some free activities and what have you. You're also respected for the work with your elderly, and you were also chair and elected member of the Older People's Champions Network in the North West, and secretary of the Freedom Club, an organisation for people with mild and severe disabilities. So I met you, Margaret, in 2008, and I was lucky enough to be elected in 2010. I think I joined a good team. We quickly set to work involving the community. This was something I know you enjoyed, and I certainly learned a lot from yourself using your experience about what was going on. And we started to address some of the key issues within the ward. And also, including that team, actually, just another shout out for St Michael's, was Lean Reeson, a former alderwoman of this borough, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. So it's a real privilege to have you and another alderwoman from St Michael's being sort of nominated tonight. You've been a superb servant for the council for 22 years, and hopefully you can spend more time for the 13 grandchildren and one great-grandchild. Good luck, Colin, with that one, because I bet you thought you were getting a rest, but it doesn't look like that's the case. So the accolade of alderwoman for Margaret is greatly deserved. Well done, Margaret, and thank you for all you've done.
I call on Councillor White to second the motion.
Thank you, Chair. Well, Margaret, it really is a pleasure and it's a privilege to have been asked by you to second this proposal. And it really is a long journey, isn't it, Margaret? I first met you when I was very first elected as a councillor in 2002. You were already a councillor at that time. And I remember you were one of those women that was always ready to support other women, particularly those who were newly elected and a little bit afraid of what they'd let themselves in for. And you helped me, Margaret, to actually become familiar with all of those intricacies of how the council ran and all the routines to expect. And I do thank you for that, because that was invaluable to me at that time. And it became evident to me very, very quickly that you, Margaret, possessed those key qualities that, frankly, not everyone possesses. The key qualities of integrity, of trust, and of loyalty. And you have always remained true to those qualities for the whole of the term of your elected position as a councillor. And I know you've always remained true to those qualities throughout your whole life in whatever you've done, Margaret. And I think that is absolutely brilliant. And as time moved on, Margaret, you always maintained a very active interest in all aspects of the role. I'm not going to try to repeat what Councillor Fairfowle's already said. I think the work that you've done is well known. But you should know that you are extremely highly respected. Even now, people remember you across the whole of the North West for the hard work, for the dedication, particularly as the older persons champion. And of course, that's as well as being highly respected in Tameside. And I remember working alongside you when I was working, when Roy Oldham put me in one of those positions, you know, that worked along with you. It was really, really good to work with you. Your work with the Freedom Club, as Councillor Fairfowle's already said, was exemplary. You gave so much of your time, much of it on a voluntary basis, for 13 years, and that is a long time, and you looked after those people, and again, I do know that they very much appreciated it. You were always ready to offer your services to help others, Margaret, and I remember when I was the mayor, which was way back in 2012, you offered, I don't know if you remember this, you offered to do a sponsored swim so that you could help raise funds for the Mayor's charity at the time. And I just thought it was amazing of you. And you did that sponsored swim, and I still thank you for it. And we did raise money from it, so thank you for that again. And I was really sad to learn, I know you had some difficult issues going on at the time, but I was sad to learn. Initially you didn't want to, I do know this, but you were ultimately forced to make the decision that you were to retire as a councillor in 2021. And I was really, really sad to hear that, because I felt that you still had a lot to give even then. But that was obviously your decision, and I respected that. But I know that your enduring passion was and always has been to support your own family. And again, as Councillor Fairfowle has said,
It's a lovely big family, and I know that they're all very, very proud of you. And I'm sure you're proud of them as well. I see some of the things that you put out on Facebook. It's really good to see how everyone is flourishing. It really is nice. So, Margaret, can I thank you for all you've done for Tameside during your time as an elected councillor, but beyond that as well, you've always been an advocate for Tameside, you know, whatever you've been doing. And you will actually be only the 4th woman to have had the title of Older Woman bestowed on them. Previously, we had Catherine Shaw, we had Lena Easton and Margaret Downs. And you will be the 4th. And you're just one of the very, very few special women in Tameside. And I believe you truly deserve this honour. And thank you so much for what you've done in the past. And I do hope that you enjoy your newly found pleasures. Thank you.
Can I ask if any other members wish to speak? No? Okay. Oh, sorry. Please.
Thank you, Chair. I've not prepared anything, Margaret, but I didn't want to let the day go by without recognising you for this accolade. I think it's well deserved, and I just wanted to say, in my early days as a councillor, you were a great support and a wonderful friend, and I still remember you rocking to and fro my newborns in labour groups and the lovely gifts that you bought them. I think you're the epitome of what a community representative should be, and I think we should all be a bit more Margaret. I miss you within our labour group sessions, and it's so lovely to see you here and for us all to celebrate all the hard work that you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just to say thanks, Margaret, and it's really well deserved this. I still see Margaret on a regular basis because she's still a trustee at the Together Centre, still supporting the Freedom Club, and I know what she's doing in the background. So thanks for all the work that you still continue to do. Thanks to the memories of London that's all I can say about that. When we've been on the crawl for many things, whether it be a restaurant or a pub or whatever. Good memories, good training. Thanks for your support at the Refuge. You know, we've worked for many years at the Refuge together, and I just want to wish you all the very best, Margaret, and you truly deserve this accolade. Thank you.
The motion is carried. Can you show me in the usual way, please? Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. The motion is carried. Now then, can I ask Margaret, please, to come forward to sign the roll of Honorary Alderman in Winner of this borough? Want me to sign it first?
She'll sign it, and you send it out. Sign it.
Where the book is.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the Civic Mayor, the retiring Civic Mayor, and to everybody who voted for me to get the to be an older woman. And thanks for all the great speeches, and you'll have me crying there, I'm telling you. Especially you, Eleanor, and you, Jackie, and Bill, and Brenda. And yeah, it's wonderful. I've got two of my granddaughters here, and I've got my husband Colin, and I've got little Campbell. He's not little anymore, but he's here as well. So thank you all for this. I really enjoyed the 22 years I did, and I'm going to enjoy the 22 years not doing it. So thank you very much.
So, thank you all. That concludes this meeting of the council. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attendance. Good night.